Precigen is currently trading at $4.36. You can see here Precigen to participate in upcoming virtual fireside chats hosted by Cantor and H.C. Wainwright. And so the Cantor and H.C. Wainwright events were about positioning the narrative for investors, so biotech investors and institutions, around what's going to happen since the approval of Papzimeos. It was an opportunity for Chief Commercial Officer Phil Tennant to outline the execution strategy, to talk about the RRP market and outline how big the opportunity actually is, and to also detail the rollout and what the launch strategy is going to look like as well. It's a method used to drum up investor confidence, to support the stock price, like I mentioned, and to build this momentum, this positive sentiment into the next 6 months to the year. And so, like I mentioned previously, for me, the next 6 months are absolutely critical. One thing they really need to get right is to get this buy-in from ENTs and surgeons who've been doing repeat surgeries for RRP. I think the critical thing for investors right now, as much as the sentiment is one of optimism, is to treat the next 2 quarters as a soft launch. Precigen does not yet have these J codes for Papzimeos, and these are actually absolutely critical in order to achieve this mainstream adoption. And so J codes are a set of alphanumeric codes used to identify and bill for injectable drugs that are administered in a healthcare setting. You know, a lot of people you will see in the market, they're very excited with the stock price, and I'm not trying to take anything away from that. You know, I've been tracking Precigen for like over 1.5 years now. But the major thing which is going to achieve this adoption is getting this J code. And so without a J code, a lot of providers actually have to buy the treatment first before they get reimbursed. A lot of providers, you know, they're hesitant to do this without the J code simply because it can cause delays in getting their reimbursements from insurance companies. Some insurance companies may even push back, or they will just use it as an opportunity to delay any payments. We saw this with ImmunityBio, which is another stock that I've been tracking on this channel. ImmunityBio actually achieved a 246% increase in uptake in their treatment following the issuance of J-code. Anktiva unit growth since J-code, 246% unit sales volume growth in the first half of 2025 compared to the second half of 2024. And so before that, doctors were potentially a little bit fearful or uncertain about prescribing Anktiva due to billing uncertainty and potentially a fear of actually being denied by insurance companies as well. We saw this 246% increase in Anktiva unit volume sales in just 6 months because the financial and administrative barriers that they had faced had simply been removed. And so this is why the J code is the actual critical next step. And so with Papzimeos, I expect that the J codes will be issued in the first quarter of 2026. I anticipate it will be in January, so we should actually experience a spike in the adoption of Papzimeos, a significant spike similar to that of Anktiva, ImmunityBio's Anktiva of 246% in this first quarter of 2026. And so as you can see, the share price right now, I kind of anticipate that there may be a little decline simply in response to investors who probably aren't necessarily aware of this situation with J codes. And this could actually present an opportunity to make an entry. You know, biotech stocks can be very volatile. There's a big wave of optimism at the moment. And just with the slightest setback, or with results not achieving what a lot of people are expecting based on a lot of the hype and euphoria at the moment, we could potentially see a little decline over the next 2 quarters, I expect. I've been following this stock for the best part of 1.5 years, very much before a lot of people have kind of come into the stock very recently. If anything, it's just me trying to bring an objective perspective. You know, I don't think a lot of people are fully aware of the impact that these J codes will have, or even aware of what these J codes actually are and how they can be the critical, if you like, catalyst that will see a huge or a far bigger spike in the uptake of sales that we will see in the first quarter of 2026. And so there's lots to be bullish and excited about as a shareholder of Precigen. Insiders are bullish. Nancy Adji, a director of Precigen, recently purchased 15,000 shares of the company on September the 4th, 2025, when the shares were trading at $4.60 on the day of Nancy Adji's purchase. There was also this recent announcement of non-dilutive funding as well, which is great news. Precigen announces up to $125 million of non-dilutive funding. And this was one of the concerns that I actually addressed in a previous video around their cash burn and the increase in costs that they were going to incur now that they had their first approved treatment, Papzimeos, and the money that they would need in order to commercialize and scale the product too. The $100 million funded at close fortifies the balance sheet and supports robust US commercialization of Papzimeos, as well as potential expansion into international markets and the pursuit of pediatric and other HPV related indications. And so this goes to show that there's a lot of optimism with this stock, a lot of excitement. You know, I was kind of a little bit worried of a potential dilution. Randall Kirk has found an alternative way in order to gather funds or capital to help bankroll the expansion, the execution of Phil Tennant's strategy that I mentioned earlier. And so lots to be excited about with this stock over the final quarter and in the new year, 2026. And naturally, I'll keep you posted with any upcoming developments. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.